Sri Lanka is blessed with an ever-changing landscape complemented by diverse vegetation. However, deforestation, especially due to fire, has increasingly become a serious problem in some regions. Team I visited the lush forests in Beragala, Haputale in Badulla District in search of a group of people who have been committed to the prevention of forest fires. We met Dr. Ranil Senanayaka, a renowned ecologist and the originator of the country's first analog forestry practice. Over the years, Dr. Senanayaka has been designing and implementing various methodologies to restore forests and ecosystems destroyed by wildfires.
They cut all the shade branches off, put it on the ground, and they burn it. It's a managed fire, so, everything is in the ground. However, with what's coming in the future, fire itself on the surface, A, is not good. B, that's all this biomass. They're burning it. That shouldn't be. We should be cutting the trenches and burying it. That way we build up the soil, we retain our biomass, we retain our nutrient. So a whole agricultural system for these mountains has to change. The management is now going in the direction of burning and desertification, which is what we should not be having. We should be moving towards shade and increase of carbon in the soil and biomass. That's where we should be going, and with that, just by two decisions is so easy to do. So this is what we have to ask Agriculture Department, Forest Department, the politicians, etc., to come on board and help us to make the change.
Nearly 50 to 200 cases of forest fires are reported in Sri Lanka every year. However, the situation is far more severe than imagined. According to the Disaster Management Center, man-made forest fires have increased by 100%. As Dr. Senanayaka explains, forest fires cause imbalances in nature. Not only does it endanger biodiversity, but it also reduces the country's faunal and floral wealth and causes long-term destruction to biomass. According to experts, the situation is expected to worsen over the years.
Now here you see an example of the problem. Here Gliricidia has been planted to get some shade, as you can see. But because it is unattended, between the Gliricidia we have a huge growth of grasses. These grasses will give the biomass that will create fires of extreme intensity. So therefore, in trying to restore lands and trying to create shade, the control of grasses that could add to the fire danger is most important. In this area here, we were on the road that has stopped the fires. This road has been made 2 years ago for our project. And because access is possible now, there has been no fires in this area since the time of the creation of this road and the creation of a group of people with fire sensitivity.
At Bogaha Palace Valioya restoration site, we practice a few methods towards restoring biomass and biodiversity ratios. We use analog forestry. We use analog forestry to include new species of trees of use to our community. We place them into a forest design, and we also restore intermediate savanna zone forests that are quite compromised in Sri Lanka. We do that using assisted natural regenerative method, where we just go into, we find degraded landscapes, we terraform them, we contour them, and we allow for pioneer species of trees to grow within those contours. Those species of trees would not otherwise have had the chance to really overcome, one, fire, and two, the grasses, the annual grasses that are invasive. So these are two of the methods that we practice here at the Bogaha Palace restoration site. What you have seen here is our demonstration of assisted natural regeneration using analog forestry techniques in Beragala National Park. In this grassland savanna, with the annual fires, the only thing that can really regenerate itself really fast is the grasses. So what we have done is we've come in and created contours, and we've selected naturally regenerative pioneer species of trees, and we've protected them in a manner that can be identified, and we allow for these trees to grow to a height above that of these grasses. So for the first time in more than 60 to 70 years, trees are coming up higher than a couple of feet now because of this methodology.
The big danger for us in the Uva and for many areas in Sri Lanka is that this season, in the Uva at least, we've had rains that are at least 8 times more than normal. These rains have extended the growing period of the coarse grasses right through the open Patna areas. There is a massive danger that this huge amount of biomass that is now accumulating will contribute to a large energy surge in terms of fire during the fire season in June, July and August, August being the peak. We have to be ready. We cannot ignore it. The lessons of Australia are too close. We know now that 2 degrees warmer than the normal temperatures during the fire season can turn our fires into infernos. We know now that the huge amount of grasses that have grown this season can actually drive life-threatening fires. We have to be ready. These are disasters waiting to happen. These are the products of climate change. We have to be ready. At the most basic level, the village Niladhari, the Grama Niladhari should be responsible for reporting any fires in their area. The fires then could be calibrated as a one type fire where no external input is needed. They can control it by themselves in the village, or a greater fire where the disaster management minister has to come into it and a network has to be informed. The Grama Niladharis have to be trained in fire control, in fire observation, in fire reporting. At the moment, nothing of this exists in our country. And when a fire happens, we stand by just dumbstruck. This must stop. We must become fire sensitive in the future that is before us. With climate change, if we are not fire sensitive, we will suffer greatly.
Most forest fires in Sri Lanka can be directly attributed to human behavior. This means the power to control forest fires and even to prevent them from developing into raging wildfires is in our own hands. During our investigation, we found that important forest fire management elements in Sri Lanka, such as fire centres, coordination among ministries, funding, contribution of the public, and scientific research, are vital but lacking in the country's management of forest fires. We believe it is imperative that Sri Lanka undergoes major improvements in the forest fire management strategy for the country.